Ben's Den, and we have crossed the midway point of the season. We are over the hump into week 6, heading towards the postseason. But when we say we're over the hump, we're really not, because the climb to the postseason is always up. And so we had a busy week of dual action across the whole state, 23 matchups, for which I have scores of 18 of them. So we jump right in, and we head to Bo to start with. They put a spanking on Lebanon, so they traveled to the far north of Lebanon, and they blanked the home team 72 to nothing. 6 forfeits, 2 double forfeits, and pins from Shane Rablis, Braden Brown, Jake Hammond, Flag. Of course, you know Chase Flag. He's coming out there. Jackson Hall and Kevin Mullen. So Falcons showing strong up there in Lebanon. Tough night for the host Raider Birds. Lebanon has a lot of outside things going on, injuries, illnesses, etc. But they're still able to host a quality meet. And even better, they did 5 JV matches after the duel. So that's good stuff. Um, Listen, they've gone through a big change, in leadership. Chauncey Wood, he was there for a bit and he handed off the reins, and the current regime is doing a great job. Regardless of what's on the scoreboard, there's always going to be some time to adjust. So I say, Lebanon, keep doing what you're doing. As for Bo, super young. Aside from Jackson Hall being the lone senior in the lineup, you have Jake Coulon, Herbie the Love Bug Madden, Chase Flag, and Dolder Tough Ryan. They're all next in line to lead the Falcons. And so they have to continue to grow rapidly and then quickly ready for the postseason. And so Coach Chavanel says, and I quote, "This is a young team. It's getting it. My staff and I love the development and are looking forward to the strides we will make as we head toward the ever competitive D3 tournament." And if you've been to the D3 tournament in the last couple of years, the level of competition certainly has taken a step up. And the head-to-head matchups that are possible there for D3, very exciting times. So Lebanon, they head to Souhegan for a quad, and Bo, they'll head to Merrimack for their duels. So good first one to start off week 6. We head to G-Town and Portsmouth. They had a little heads up there. The Grizzlies, they traveled to the Seacoast, put it on the Clippers of Portsmouth, starting at 138 with a forfeit, and then took 8 straight, including Ian Campbell over Steven Whistler, the standout freshman out there at Portsmouth. He got a major decision over him, 11-3. He grabbed pins from Steve Damboyce, Sullivan Conley, down in the match, pulls off a big comeback win, gets 6 for his team. Mason Nemec, and then Alexander Kopel, and a couple of forfeits. And listen, you got the Goffstown Grizzlies up 67-11 at the end of that match, right? But the second half of the duel saw some Clipper highlights, right? You had Michael Sherburne over Christopher Finnegan, excuse me. Got to pin him in the first period. Secret Squirrel, Carter Kuhn, he got a tech fall over Gabe Osborne, 21-6 in about the first period. And then you had Willem Pierce and Hunter Sheldon. They grabbed falls. And the NHWA Jar, Ben Walton, he beats a tough AJ Craig in sudden victory, 8-5. So a great match. Some really good head-to-head matchups. The crowd was going wild. Saw some footage. And look, a strong showing for G-Town, who heads to Souhegan this weekend. And Portsmouth, they're going to head to Winnacunnet and test their chops out there at that quad event. So congratulations to G-Town, big win there. We head to Alvern versus Merrimack, and it's another tough night for the Tomahawks. Merrimack, there, look, young team, right? Well, the Broncos, they kick them in the grill, Pete. Starting at 144, Merrimack jumps ahead by 6 after a first period pin from Mason Karen over Aon Dugal from Alvern. That's a first period pin there. And then 3 straight for the Broncos, including Seth Martin, Joseph Lydon, and a really, Mr. GQ, Shane Mackey at 165. They're all getting it done. Carter Anderson, Merrimack, he stops the bleeding with a pin over Benjamin Dickelson. Dickinson? Yeah, Dickinson from Malvern. Well, anyway, Carter Anderson, he got it done. 4 straight pins heading into the heart of the Broncos lineup with the big boys. Quinton Tesserall from Malvern, he beats up on Avery Lantige, Merrimack. It's a pin. You had Sean Boudreau over Cooper Seltz and Wilps from Merrimack. Got another pin there. And then 285, Andrew Vertigans of Valorant over Tyler Hansberry of Merrimack with a second period pin. So a bunch of pins there. Wrapping around in the lineup again, we started at 144, but you head down to the little guys, and the Broncos just kept pouring it on with Kyler Cox at 106 over Charlene Haddad. Merrimack got a pin there, and Timothy Malley, he gets a win over Avery Berta-Danelli of Merrimack, second period at 120. So I'm sure Mr. Malley had a nice full belly, was feeling pretty strong on the night. Normally he wrestles down at 113. Merrimack, hey, they closed strong with the Sayball boys smashing things. Owen over Nathaniel Banks via tech fall, and then Connor over Aiden Healy by a pin. So Sayball boys doing their work for Merrimack. Final match of the night was at 138 with Landon Schultz of Merrimack over Aiden Douglas with a tech fall, 29-9. So some good points on the board there. Broncos just too much for the young Tomahawks, and they pick up a good win before heading to Concord for a tough quad, where I'll be. And then Merrimack, they play host for some good old-fashioned dual meets, and they got a good squad of officials heading down there, some tough teams, so it should be some good stuff to report coming back from them. Moving along, we have Bedford and Exeter. Bulldogs traveled to the Seacoast to lock up at the Blue Hawks on Wednesday night. It was NHWOA Jar and senior Bedford stud Calvin Bradley getting a pin over Ryan Mikulski, and Camden Santos from Bedford over Avery Nemi from Exeter gets a pin there. Look, a decision win from Sam Cowett at 190, and sophomore stud Gavin McConnell grabs 5 for a tech fall. Bedford jumps out quickly to an 18-0 lead. Exeter closes the gap to 18-12 with Luke St. Ange over Matt Ben at 285. And then the Grand Wizard, Reed Grand Mason over Jackson Ella of Bedford with a pin. A little back and forth in the second half of the duel, and with 12 points and forfeits, the Blue Hawks fall short, and Bedford went on for the win, 41-32. So them boys at Exeter got a good stiff test against a good tough D1 opponent, fell a little short. Forfeits matter. All right, we go to Concord and Hollis. First half, pretty tight start. Started up, after the first 19-17 with a quick Concord lead. Jackson Carter over Enzo Kolar. That's a nice one. From Hollis Brookline gets a pin there, and the lone pin for the Tide in the first 7 matches. You had Owen Gregg and Dominic Sanilla. They both picked up decision wins, with Dom's being a major. Hollis Brookline had 2 wins with the Frosh Victor Loam at 113 pounds, and on the other side of that spectrum, senior captain Caden Brusso at 138 pounds. They both got pins, while a 17-1 tech fall for Scout Cree at 120 pounds rounds out the opening stanza. Second half of the match, Concord all day long for 34-3. 4 wins by forfeit, 1 pin by Carl Siriana at 190 pounds, and 1 major decision, 9-1, Isaiah Puckett at 215 pounds. Hollis Brookline, lone win in the second half of the duel, was an 8-1 win for Jacob Critchfield at 157 pounds. Listen, Concord, I've been saying it, beating that drum for a little while. They keep getting better every week. And so Concord doing what they do. They're going to host a quad this weekend, and Hollis Brookline gets a much needed weekend off. You go home, you heal up physically and mentally, get a little spark back, and we'll see what the Cavaliers have next Wednesday as they host Winnicunnet. Hey, righty. Got a couple down and a whole bunch more to go. So we'll go to Londonderry. So I happen to be at Londonderry, so I got some inside information. Not really. I just talked to a lot of people, but it's my first time in Londonderry. I had a blast. Shout out to my boy Jason, who's an NHWA apprentice first year, and also a longtime friend of mine, going on like 30, 35 plus years. So he joined me on the mat as the second official, and he continues to hone his craft and getting better. So good work, my man. I had a chance to speak to one David Pinto Jr. and a Manny Perez, who recently returned from a hand injury. Senior year, David's rolling into the final 2 months of the season, and hopefully without a care in the world. Listen, pressure is pressure, right? But the results will be what the results will be. And I don't know, I say enjoy the time you have left. You're going to try, now I'm not speaking just to David, but to all seniors, like you don't know what it's like to quit if you've made it this far. So you're going to have results. Let it be what it's going to be. Enjoy the time. And then, whatever's next, you'll attack it the same way. So I think sometimes we forget that these young adults who are about to graduate and they don't have to and probably won't know what they want to do for the rest of their lives. And I know I don't. I keep growing, I keep changing. I just need the space to be able to do that. And I think David Pinto is gonna do just fine. And like I said, just enjoy the next couple of months and whatever will be, will be. But back to the action on the night. Wyndham fought valiantly. They just don't have enough ammo to get the job done. So with two recent departures, the Jaguars lose the forfeit battle, giving up 6 with a 3-2 deficit and suffering all pins, including the Lancers' 4 horsemen, Perez, Egan, Pinto, and Buttle. They did their work, as did the rest of the team. So it's good to see Manny back on the mat, coming back from a broken hand. He has some work to do. He's got to grow that gas tank. After being out a bit, there's just no conditioning like being on the mat to wrestle. So Manny's got his work cut out for him now. Catch up, build as big a gas tank as he can before he heads into the postseason. And you still got some time to get it right. So stay focused, young man, and welcome back. Overall, good night. And I know Coach Decker, he'll take Wyndham across the border to the Springfield Duels and keep sharpening them up. Well, Londonderry, they're heading over to Merrimack. Again, Merrimack's hosting the big dual meet tournament that they have. So some good squads over there. You'll be hearing me talk about that. Let's talk Milford and Bishop Guertin. So the Spartans, they hosted the Cardinals in the Milford High School gym. And though it looks like it was a good drubbing, 53-24, the Cardinals gave up 24 points in forfeits. And so that's 29-24 if you take that off. So a much tighter match. Still a Milford win, and perhaps a full lineup and staying off our backs would yield different outcomes throughout the state for a lot of teams. In a literal back and forth with only 1 2-match streak by Milford, the Spartans outlast BG with wins from Josh Enright, Calix LaJoy, over Austin Steinruck, 7-1. It's a good win. And then you had Cameron Stickney, Noah Kittredge, and Jack Clancy. They all got pins, Clancy with a tech fall. And then you also had Tanner Herbert over Finn Murphy from Bishop Guertin, 12-10 there, so tight match. BG, they get wins from James Aljo over Max Hammerstrom by a fall, Jack Foster over Philip Wright, also by fall, and then B Squared, Bishop Kearns over Brandon Lehman by fall. So BG, they're going to head to Capital in Concord, and they're going to attend the quad there. And Milford, they're heading to the Seacoast for the Winnicott Duels. So good luck to both teams there. And again, big win for Milford. You take them however you can get them. We moved to Plymouth. They had either a double duel or try-me, whatever they're calling them these days. And first up was the White Mountains. So White Mountains picks up Logan Sampson over Sebastian Sargent. Tech fall, 19-4 to start things out. Aiden Wiley over Grant Weinhart. And then Connor Perry over Dominic Ciotti for a pin. All big wins for the White Mountains. And then it's all Bobcats from there as Casey Petronero, Colby Savage, Nolan Gavin, Hussein Osarian, and Drake Tottenham. They all earned the pins while Jackson Bernier got a 16-6 major over Eric Young of the White Mountains. And then one stud, Robert Phipps, he got a win over Lance Labens with a 13-8 decision. And the Sheriff, well, he stayed on the bench and he got a forfeit. So I guess technically he came off the bench, did his little thing, and then probably not an exciting match for him, but nonetheless, Plymouth takes that 55-14 against the White Mountains. And then they step up and they battle Pelham. And so the first half was tight with Plymouth edging out Pelham 24-18, including 3 wins by pinfall. Mason Morrison at 106 pounds, Cody Sawyer at 132, Alex Ruff at 138, as well as a forfeit. And then Pelham, hey, they grabbed a forfeit and a pin from Drew Nicolosi at 144 pounds. So again, tight start to go with. Second half, all Plymouth taking 5 of 7, including 4 pins. Rainier, Galvin, Nossaman makes the return back. Gets one there at 190 pounds. Osarian back in the mix. And then one decision win, 3-2, Grant Wenhart, 157 pounds. So big push right there for Plymouth. Pelham second half wins included the tech fall for Philip Smith, 17-1 at 165 pounds. And then a very familiar name in Victor Zanoni at 285 pounds. He gets a pin there. And listen, I mentioned the Sheriff. He picked up a win. What's special about this one is who it came against and the manner in which he did it. So he had a forfeit in his first match. Well, he had a gunfight in his second, and that was against Billy Nichols. Pelham stud 190er. He goes out, gets an early takedown on Emmett, right to a cradle in his home gym where they're probably stunned and losing their minds all at once. Emmett fights off the pin. They go out of bounds. On the restart, Nichols slaps on another cradle for 4 more near fall, and he closes up the period 11-0 lead. Sheriff, he's wounded, and he's dragging his candy butt back to the center where he takes neutral. Getting the second win, Nosman secures his own takedown to his own, and like a true lawman, he gets a tough cradle. He gets control of Billy Nichols and he sticks him, and he has the place going crazy. And so, great win for Nosman. Tough match against a really stud Billy Nichols. And I look forward to maybe seeing that one again. So good to see the Sheriff get in trouble, work his way out. And I'm sure Mr. Nichols ain't too happy about that. Final score 51-29. Plymouth, who also has the weekend off. Pelham didn't have anything on the master schedule, which my copy is no doubt out of date. But good luck either way to you boys, whether it's a weekend off or another battle on the mats. All right, moving along to a very good and for me, highly anticipated Division I matchup where Salem took on Pinkerton Academy. And listen, it's a matchup of two powerhouse D1 teams, the Blue Devils of Salem. They hosted Pinkerton, and the forfeits are the difference. I never thought I would say that between those two teams, but it is what it is. So, started at 190 where Salem got 6 for the forfeit. And then the Caruso boys pick up wins with Anthony grabbing a tech fall and James over James Nelson of Salem with a 7-2 decision. John Bloxage and Maddox Boudreaux pick up wins via fall for 12 more before Lance Bordelot, Pinkerton Academy. He puts a major decision on Spencer Buscema, 14-5, looking as strong as ever. 2 more for Salem with Talon Walton over Mason Bowden, and Caleb O'Rourke from Salem over Noah Picado. Yeah. Hold on, the dog wants out. Yeah. I'm not sure if I'll even edit that out, but the star on the floor said I got to get out of here. All right, where was I? So Caleb O'Rourke, yeah, he picked up a big win over a tough Noah Cataldo, major decision, 11-1. No shame there, Noah. Caleb's a tough kid, so you just keep battling back. Good record on the year for Noah, and you want to keep reaching towards the top of the podium. You got Mr. O'Rourke to deal with for at least another month or so. So all Astros from there, or from 150 to 175 with Landon McKiernan, Elmac, and Sean Broderick grabbing pins. And then Carter Mayotte over Riley O'Brien, 10-4. And Connor Combs over John Vargas, 8-0. So a nice major decision there. On the surface, it would sound like the PA grabs the win. But as I said, the forfeits are the difference with 3 total and 18 points to Salem. Pinkerton, they're going to be tough in the postseason, and Salem will be there. So it's a great clash of heads before it matters most, see where everybody stands and who's got to get back to work. And so this weekend, the Astros, they'll head out of state to Springfield and Salem to Merrimack for the dual meet tournament. Good stuff. All right, speaking of Division I programs, moving along to Timberlane and Keene. The Nest. Well, which nest? Because they're both birds, right? Well, the Timberlane Nest, the Owl's Nest. They played host to Keene Blackbirds, who came in trying to steal one, and Timberlane was not having it. First 7 matches put Timbo out 30-9 with pins by Gavin Oljay, Cole Seuss, Jason O'Brien, Kyle Lindbald, and Alexander Hammond at 285. Yeah. On the other side, Keene gets points from Jack Gillard over Reed Robinson with a tech fall, 16-0. And then Ilias Azazeddine over Stephen Fatout. I love that name. Major decision, 9-1. And that's 3 points because Timberlane can stay off their back. So instead of giving up 6 with a fall, Stephen was able to stay off his back and reduce it to 3 team points for Keene. And New Hampshire, take note. All Timberlane on the backside of the duel with Matt Boucher, Ethan Billabram, Talon Oljay. He had a good one over Carter Trubiano, 7-5. And only Peyton Gowell from Keene over Peter Morrissey, major decision 14-2 in the backside of that duel. And then you also had 138 Ian Spencer over Joey Consalvo with a tech fall 18-2. Again, 12 points in a duel simply by staying off their back. Congratulations, Timberlane. Timberlane for the win, 40-31. They head to New York while Keene heads to Springfield. So a good matchup there. And I know we're going to see a lot of those head-to-heads as we move into the postseason. Checking out Spalding and Nashua North. We got Spalding improving to 4-3 on the season with a home win against Nashua North on Wednesday night. 42-30 is not a bad score, right? Okay. We got wins from the Raiders, 113, Isaac Scruton, 157, Captain Maverick Hope, 65, Dylan Nelson, the animal at 175 is Sawyer Goodwin, excuse me. Jason Moore at 190, got a forfeit, Captain Evan Kucher, at 215 pounds, and then Wesley Chesser. They all got pins. So 7 wins right there, 6 of them by pins. That's a good night. Honorable mention for the strong performance and team dedication that's going on over there at Spalding. You had Aiden Kudo, Colin Jakes, and Mackenzie Lacoste all putting off some tough efforts. So Coach Kucher doing great things out there, continuing to wade the waters of Division One. You know, again, for those that don't know, Spalding was a Division II school last year, and they did very well. And they could have stayed in Division II and done probably even better this year. And yet, coach decided, nah, let's go up to the big pool and we'll see what's going on up there. So, as you head up to the big pool, sometimes the big boys dunk you down, sometimes they don't, and eventually become a big boy. So, congratulations to Spalding's a big win over Nashua North. And North, again, young program, coached well, but you're going to take your lumps as well. All right, Conval was busy. We had a try meet for them. Excuse me, Campbell was busy. They had a try meet, including Conval and Muskoma. Campbell hosted a 1-1 record for the night. First match against Conval, they had Sam Baker over Oliver Smith Aucoin from Conval with a tech fall, 18-2. Logan Gillen over Oliver Smith Aucoin. Yeah, that seems weird. Someone seems off there. I'll have to look at that. But hey, man, somebody won. Sage Anktel Campbell over DJ Stevens, Conval, 53-second pin. And then Conval picked up wins from Caden Park at 285, Colin Mao at 132, and stud 138-pounder Luis Torres. He got a win over Ben Reiki at Campbell with a 3-minute 43-second pin. As did James Medeiros, also of Conval, over Victor Philbrule. Got a pin in the first period. So that was at 175. Dylan Farrell from Conval also got a win. He got it over Jaden Usello Campbell, 226 to close the night out at 190. You know, again, we got Campbell 34, Muskoma 30, a lot of forfeits. Speaking of forfeits, next up, excuse me, that was Conval last one. Speaking of forfeit, next up was Muskoma. This match saw 10 forfeits, including 3 doubles. So in the wrestling action, Muskoma took a 4-1 match lead with the lone Campbell win from Sage Anktel over Caden Wilson. It was a major decision, 12-4 at 150 pounds. But Muskoma wins came from Tristan Clack, Hunter Dvorak, and Paxton Roberts. And they all got it done by pin. So wrestling-wise, Muskoma, very dominant. However, you know, just you can't have the holes in the lineup. And so Campbell gets the official win 34-30. And again, Conval beat Campbell 48-20. So a 1-1 day for the Campbell crowd. And unfortunately, still no sign of Logan Allaire. Insert tears here, crying. Would really like to see him come back. Again, we only got a little bit of time left. I'm sure he's staying in shape. But Logan, if you're out there, know that people would love to see you watch, or would love to watch you wrestle a few more times. Not just me, but you know, hopefully you're doing well, my man. All right, let's see. So Conval, they're gonna head to Vermont for the Commodore Invitational. Muskoma hosts a quad, and Campbell heads to Winnicott. All right. One more to go. Souhegan over Kingswood, 57-24. Sabres of Souhegan, you know, they traveled up to Kingswood, and no surprise, I'm sure they weren't surprised, but still got to work hard to get the big win over a hot team. Royce Morin from Kingswood over Julian Zumo, got a pin there. Gets Kingswood on the board, and then 9 straight for Souhegan. 6 forfeits, 3 pins. You had Landon Carson with a pin. You had Benjamin Smiley and Cole Brandt. They all got some pins. So, when the wrestling takes place, the Sabres are rattling the cage. Good job there. Full lineup. Win for you there. Kingswood gets 12 with pins from Reese Fisher over Alex Sarde. Come on, help me out when you see me. And then, hey, look, good guy, Caleb Forgy, right? Over Noah Daly. And then Gabriel Holt, he closes out the show for Souhegan with a big win over Stephen Lawrence and a pin. So, Souhegan doing some good stuff. It is, where are they going? I don't even know where they're going. They're going someplace, but I didn't put it in the notes. But yeah, look, Souhegan looking tough as always, just keeping it going. This is where it starts to get interesting, right? You get a lot of kids start to get bored. They get, I'm just wrestling every week, and that grind starts here, right? You got another couple of weeks before we get to the excitement of the actual, we're almost to the postseason. And so seen a lot of holes in the lineup. I don't know if people, sick still, injured, everything, but a lot of forfeits through the results this week. And also, I know I've talked about it before, but I got to say it again. It's really cool digging through the box scores. It's very time consuming and all that. But in doing so, I see a lot of patterns, and I'm sure nobody here is surprised, but we cannot seem to stay off our backs. And that is something that I just don't understand. And the reason being is this. You actually don't know you don't have to know how to wrestle to just get your shoulder off of the mat. You have to know how to fight. Right. There is technique that you can use on your back, right? You can bridge, you can swim out, you can get an underhook, plenty of things that you can do, right? But what you can't do when you're on your back is surrender. And I have the privilege of wearing stripes and being extra close to the action. And I got to tell you, man, and you kids can be offended, need a safe space, whatever it is, but it's my observation, but you're soft. And whether you can wrestle or not, you got to learn to fight off of your back. You're going to get put there, especially if you're a new wrestler, but you got to fight off your back. And you got to fight harder than you're doing now. You might still get pinned. Like, start small, right? Don't get pinned in the first period. All right, cool. Don't get pinned in the second period. All right. Don't get pinned in the third period. All right. But don't get pinned at all. But we're in January, and the amount of pins that I saw through the box scores for this Wednesday, man, that's saddening. It's just saddening. So time to buck up and really bring out the inner warrior and don't get pinned. Like, just, you can't. I don't know. No way. No way am I getting pinned, and I got pinned. Don't get me wrong. But my mentality is there's no way that I'm getting pinned. I can't keep a piece of my body off the mat this much. Well, you're going to have to work me over to get me there. Real hard. I'm not going. You're going to have to snap something. I love a potentially dangerous call because I'm not going. Snap it. We have to get that killer instinct in there, regardless of whether we're killing or whether we're on the bottom being killed. But you got to get out there. You got to get that killer instinct to get that guy off of you. And so, like I said, you don't have to know wrestling to get off your back. So take it for what it is. You can think it's an insult. You can think it's anything. I would take it as a challenge, but that's just me. We're just past the midway point. How about no more pins? Try that. Set a goal, right? Because it's too many. All right, I'm gonna move on because a lot of it makes me like crazy. It's crazy how many people are getting pinned. All right, so a couple other things. The NHWA fundraiser continues. Go to GoFundMe, search NHWA, you'll find us there. Ben's Den, I try to do my part. There's a Ben's Den store, bensdennh.com. You can buy some gear there. All the money goes towards the scholarship fund. And just wanted to give a shout out to my brother Chris. This is his charity. It's Aiming for Zero. It is dedicated to preventing veterans suicide. And I'm sure a lot of people have heard, 22 a day. Well, his mission is to reduce that, provide opportunities for healing and all that good stuff. And he's a very committed individual. He holds very high standards for not only himself, but for those that he worked with. He's got a great team around him. So, my brother, keep up the great work. You're an inspiration for me as well. And to the wrestling community, as always, I appreciate your time. And I'm really looking forward to the next month and a half of our season and really closing out the 24-25 season with a bang. So, everybody, good luck this weekend. Stay safe, compete hard, don't get pinned. We'll see you on the mats.